all truth eventually comes to light. Victims become survivors, and when they share their stories, we listen. Over the past few years, women have been coming forward continuously, sharing that there is a dangerous man with an eye for young girls and young women, hiding in plain sight. That dangerous man is none other than Thomas Wesley Pence, or as the world knows him as, Diplo. For the sake of simplicity in this deep dive, I will be referring to Thomas as his stage name, Diplo, to make it a little bit easier to follow. As always, let's go back to the very beginning. Diplo was born on November 10th of 1978 in Tupelo, Mississippi. Diplo is currently 44 years old today. Growing up, Diplo and his mother and father moved fairly often, spending time in Mississippi, Florida, and Tennessee. Diplo graduated from Hendersonville High School in Tennessee, and after this, he and his family moved to South Florida, where his father opened a bait shop. Growing up, Diplo had dreams of being a paleontologist, but as he grew older, his interests changed. In 1997, Diplo enrolled in college at the University of Central Florida, where he began pursuing a degree in film studies. While attending UCF, Diplo got a job as a DJ for a local radio station. Before completing his degree, Diplo moved to Philadelphia and transferred his credits to Temple University. In Philadelphia, Diplo got another gig as a local DJ, and he began to build a small local fan base. During his time at Temple University, on top of working several different DJ gigs, Diplo also worked as a movie theater employee and an after-school mentor. After graduating from Temple University, Diplo moved to India. When Diplo arrived in India, the first thing he did was buy a used motorcycle, and he used this as transportation to travel through multiple different Indian territories. Diplo did soon return to the United States. When Diplo got back to Philadelphia, he was introduced to an established Philadelphia DJ who called himself DJ Low Budget. Diplo and DJ Low Budget began throwing parties and clubbing events that drew in massive crowds who loved the duo's beats and mixes. Because these parties and clubbing events were such a massive success, it gave the duo the financial ability to produce their own mixtapes. They began producing solo mixtapes as well as mixtapes where they collaborated together, which caused them to be recognized throughout the country. One of the duo's mixtapes even made it to the New York Times Top 10 Albums of 2003. In 2004, singer M.I.A. was attending a club in London called the Fabric Club, and when she walked in, Diplo was DJing and he was playing one of her songs. M.I.A. approached Diplo and shared her appreciation for his music. In a later interview, Diplo shared that him and M.I.A. had a lot in common and struck up an instant friendship as they both had a love for music and they were both film studies graduates. Diplo and M.I.A. struck up a friendship and later collaborated together on a mixtape that was listed amongst Album of the Year by the New York Times. After this success, Diplo and M.I.A. continued to work together, and Diplo was hired to be the DJ of M.I.A.'s 2005 tour, which was massively successful. M.I.A. and Diplo began a romantic relationship, but this relationship did not last long. M.I.A. describes Diplo as a toxic man. M.I.A. has explained in an old interview that when she was signed to Interscope Records, her boyfriend Diplo was really upset about this. Diplo's jealousy completely overwhelmed him, and he began smashing furniture in the hotel room that the couple were staying at the time. M.I.A. has explained that Diplo was very easily set off. He would often spin into fits of rage and become extremely harsh towards his partner, telling her that she did not deserve the success that she had found, and that her music was terrible and that she should never have been anything more than an underground artist. Before the two went their separate ways, M.I.A. introduced Diplo to a well-established London DJ named DJ Switch. Diplo, DJ Switch, and M.I.A. all collaborated in the track Paper Planes that later was nominated for a Grammy. At the time of its release, Paper Planes peaked at number 4 on Billboard's Hot 100. While Diplo had certainly gotten a taste of success in his career, Paper Planes was arguably his big break. Diplo quickly began climbing the music industry ladder, where he began producing and collaborating with some of the biggest artists of our generation, including Snoop Dogg, Shakira, Kid Cudi, Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, Justin Bieber, Chris Brown, Ariana Grande, Usher, and many, many more. Today, Diplo's name seems to be associated with any well-known established artist in the industry. Now, I'm not going to go through every single song or album that Diplo has produced or collaborated on, but I think this shows you the broad picture on how Diplo rose to fame. Diplo finding fame also meant that he found out that fame equaled easy access to girls and women. Diplo did not have any serious public relationships until 2010 when he began dating Catherine Lockhart. This relationship with Catherine resulted in the birth of Diplo's two oldest sons. Diplo's first son was born in 2010, but the relationship between Catherine and Diplo quickly fell apart. The couple went their separate ways but remained friendly for the sake of their child. The couple's second-born son was born in 2014 at a time where the two were not romantically involved, just co-parenting. The couple's sons are now 9 and 13 years old. When Catherine fell pregnant with her and Diplo's second son, Diplo was in a relationship with Katy Perry. Diplo is no stranger to dating high-profile celebrities and influencers. In 2014 to 2015, he dated Katy Perry, and more recently, he dated very well-known influencer and aspiring DJ, Chantel Jeffries. Diplo has also dated former Miss Universe, Javon King. This relationship also did not last long, but it did result in the birth of Diplo's third-born son, who was born in 2020. According to Diplo, he has a good co-parenting relationship with the mother of his children, but we don't really know what his day-to-day life as a father really looks like. Now, this is the part where we get into the allegations against Diplo. November of 2020 was when the public really started to clue into the fact that Diplo might not be a very good guy. It was at this time that a brave young woman named Shelley came forward and shared the horrific details of what she had experienced at the hands of Diplo. Shelley came forward and shared that Diplo had been talking to her inappropriately and explicitly since she was in high school. The two first got into contact because Diplo reached out to Shelley via Twitter DM and asked for her Snapchat. Shelley, who was probably very shocked and surprised to be receiving attention from such a high-profile celebrity, happily gave over her Snapchat username. According to Shelley, the first message that Diplo sent her on Snapchat was him requesting that she send him nudes. At the time Diplo began requesting these, he was 36 and Shelley was 17. Diplo then allegedly began sending nudes of himself and then asking Shelley to send him very specific nude photographs.
Literally told me, that's not a nude. That's not a nude, you need to show.
At this time, Shelley had never even had a boyfriend, nor did she know how to carry on a flirtatious conversation, let alone with a grown man. Diplo made a very strong effort to make Shelley feel comfortable. Soon after, this teenager began sending this grown man photos of herself in her undergarments. It quickly became inadequate for Diplo. He then pressured her to send him specifically posed, fully undressed photographs. Diplo then escalated to sending this high schooler videos of him being intimate with other women. One of these women who he filmed and sent to Shelley was a woman named Jenna too, and we will talk more about her story very shortly. Diplo and Shelley stayed in contact over the next few years, but Shelley did not feel comfortable meeting Diplo while she was underage, despite him constantly inviting her out to Vegas. In 2018, after Shelley graduated from high school, she relocated to Los Angeles. After Shelley moved, Diplo began messaging her often, asking her to come over to his home in the hills. After ignoring his invitations multiple times just because Shelley didn't feel 100% comfortable, she did finally give in and went to visit Diplo at his home. During this meeting, the two consumed a copious amount of wine. Shelley remembers being completely inebriated. Shelley then did lose her B card to Diplo. Before even coming to the home, Shelley made it clear that she did not want to be recorded the same way that he had recorded other women in times of intimacy and sent them to her. She made it extremely clear that recording was off limits for her. During the act, Shelley distinctly remembers Diplo saying, F this, I'm recording, and then began recording their intimacy. Shelley later discovered that she had an STI from her first and only intimate experience with a man. As soon as Shelley came forward and shared her truth, it caused her to be incessantly harassed by Diplo and his legal team. They began pressuring her to retract her statement and make a public apology. Shelley had to get a restraining order against Diplo because the harassment became so extreme, and the court approved this restraining order. A few months later, Shelley sued Diplo in civil court for pursuing her as a minor, as well as withholding the knowledge that he had an STI at the time that he was intimate with Shelley.
There are reports claiming that he gave you Is that true?
Yes.
There's a lot more information out there about Shelley's story. I can't get into all the details on this app, but I do encourage you to watch her 2-episode podcast on Sloan's Let's Get Into It podcast. Soon after Shelley spoke out and was granted a restraining order, Diplo also got a restraining order against Shelley and accused her of harassing him. That same year, another young woman came forward and shared that she was suing Diplo for R-word. Her lawsuit details that Diplo pursued her also while she was underage, and whenever she agreed to meet with him, he allegedly slipped something into her beverage and R-worded her. This allegedly took place in Las Vegas in 2019 after one of his performances, and Diplo recorded it. In my opinion, I believe that something or someone frightened this victim because just 10 days after filing this lawsuit, she withdrew it from the court. Another woman and artist who has come forward and shared her negative experiences with Diplo is Azalea Banks. According to Azalea, Diplo reached out to her on MySpace when she was just 17 years old. At this time, Diplo would have been about 29 years old. Azalea shared that soon after the two met, Diplo began taking advantage of her body, and in exchange, Diplo would give her musical exposure.
Wait. Did you hear that Diplo's still like having like teenage girls?
No, yes.
I used to have sex with Diplo when I was 17. Like, yeah. Diplo definitely found me face. Because I've like always given him credit for launching my career off, but yeah, I had to give him some teenage to do it. He's always been like preying on kind of like young ethnic girls.
In the midst of all of these allegations, it was discovered that 18 or 19-year-old TikTok star Quinn Blackwell was living in Diplo's home. Quinn shared that she moved in with the 41-year-old during quarantine, and he was helping her with her musical exposure. Quinn did not share with her audience that she was living with Diplo until she had been there for quite a few months, and Quinn's fan base got a very unique perspective on the entire situation. It was clear that from Quinn's point of view, she didn't see an issue with this situation. She was 18 or 19 when she began talking to this man in his 40s who is a well-known celebrity. She was probably excited and jumped at the opportunity. Despite her fans expressing their concerns, Quinn made it very clear that she was a grown woman and did not need her fans to be worried about her. Quinn told her fan base that the relationship between her and Diplo was strictly platonic, despite the fact that Diplo liked to say things to Quinn such as, "Our souls are so in sync." What does an 18 or 19-year-old have in common with a 41-year-old? I'd love to know. When finally removed herself from that living situation, she was able to see what her fans were trying to tell her.
The producer told me to come out here when I was 17, and I came out here when I was 18. My music's been a journal to me through all the bullshit I've dealt with from someone older, like wanting to help me, but essentially just like seeing a young creative with light in them and wanting to own them.
She was in a terrible situation and she was being taken advantage of. She shared a lot of these moments of realizations on TikTok and later shared messages between her and Diplo that seemed very inappropriate, coming from a man in his 40s to a teenager.
Throw back to that one time I was getting all the 40-year-olds around me were like, y'all souls are just so in sync. Like, can anyone call the police? Because I'm not in a good situation and y'all.
Within the past few weeks, a TikTok video has been posted by a model named Jenna 2. If you remember, we mentioned her name previously. Jenna has been linked to many high-profile celebrities, including Trey Songz, Chris Brown, Nick Cannon, Chief Keef, and Diplo. Jenna is very open and authentic on her social media and very candidly shares that she contracted HIV, which led to a diagnosis of AIDS. Jenna is learning how to live with this after it nearly took her life, leaving her emaciated at only 65 pounds, unable to walk, and losing sight in one of her eyes. Right now, Jenna seems to be very strong and very healthy and ready to talk about some things that have happened to her. Jenna has been open with the fact that she's not aware how she contracted HIV, but her doctors believe that she contracted the virus when she was 17 or 18. It went untreated for years. In said video that Jenna recently posted to TikTok, she shared that she had seen Shelley's interview on Sloan's podcast and began speculating that Diplo might have been the person who gave her HIV.
Oh, today I got a message about an interview that I should watch. And this interview happened to include a celebrity man that I with for a few years, and I actually have feelings for this person. And let's just say this interview put a very bad light on this person. And I've dealt with cops over this person due to conduct stuff that I thought was no big deal, so I brushed it off. But the fact that it's coming back to my face and they're telling me stuff about STDs and all this mess, and this man has been with me and everybody else doing the same thing with everybody else, and I don't know how to just brush it off anymore, because it's like, what if this is the person who did this to me and he's living his best life?
In this video, Jenna does not directly name Diplo, but the comments were full of people saying that she was talking about Diplo. Shelley then stitched Jenna's video, sharing more of her experience and naming Diplo directly. Shelley then stitched Jenna's video and shared more information about her story, and also revealed that Diplo had sent videos to her as a teenager of him being intimate with Jenna. When Jenna posted her video to TikTok, Shelley instantly recognized her, prompting her to make a stitch. This information that Shelley shared confirmed that Jenna was having physical relations with Diplo around the time that she contracted HIV. As the public began to put things together and buzzing about this situation, Diplo felt pressured to share a screenshot of his alleged most recent results of his STD panel. These results showed that Diplo is negative for HIV. Some people think these test results are just a fake screenshot. Others believe it was not Diplo who gave Jenna HIV, but perhaps another celebrity that she was involved with, or she contracted it from other causes. On top of all these women who have bravely come forward, there are a plethora of comments and stories across social media of young girls and women's bizarre experiences and encounters with Diplo. As of present day, Diplo has tried to take out another restraining order on Shelley to stop her from talking about the things that he has done. A judge did deny Diplo a restraining order from Shelley. But later this month, Diplo is taking Shelley back into court to try to get a permanent restraining order against her. I believe these women, and I believe their stories, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous that the music industry is covering for a greasy looking DJ in his 40s named Thomas because he makes good beats. Enough is enough. I hope Diplo is nervous because his victims are no longer victims, they are survivors. Some of you may know I recently did a deep dive covering the allegations that have been levied against Diplo. This deep dive went viral, prompting Diplo to reach out to me personally. I'm not going to show the whole conversation right at this moment, but this is how the conversation got started. He basically just slid into my DMs trying to proclaim his innocence, and I was basically just saying everything I said was cited from a credible source. He then spent a decent amount of time trying to discredit multiple girls that have come forward. In my inbox, he has made statements about Azalea Banks, Shelley, and Quinn, and I'm not going to show those screenshots right now just because it's harmful and it's offensive to victims. But what I found very, a mind fuck, is the fact that not only did he reach out to me to try to discredit the victims who have come forward. In the previous screenshot I just showed you, I told him I'm not taking my post down because there's no reason to. And he says, I'm sure you would never take your post down as it's your most popular. I'm sure you are monetizing. If you ever want to go out and get pizza or something, I'd be down. Also, in the screenshot that I just showed you guys, in my initial response to his first message, I tell him, since I have posted this deep dive, I have had dozens of women message me anonymously, sharing their experiences with him. And in response to that, he said, I'd love to see the other teen girls because I believe that's false. You love to mention multiple teens, but we both know that's a lie or it would be public. So I responded to him saying, I don't recommend calling my bluff because this story can continue. Also, please refrain from flattering yourself. Your post is far from my most popular. He then continues saying Jenna knows he's not HIV positive and then tries to make me feel bad, saying it's not fun when his children and ex-girlfriends ask if he has AIDS. First of all, your kids are 9 and 11. Stop. Then he says, you seem cool though. You sure you don't want to go get dinner? The level of unprofessionalism is insane. Him reaching out to me, a little creator on TikTok, just discussing these allegations and sliding into my DMs and asking me out to dinner twice. This is a really strange interaction, and I just needed to talk to you guys about it.